In the last tutorial, I talked about the images folder, and one thing I forgot to tell you. In the images folder, which I will show you here inside of my directory, it's a video player. So I mentioned that these images are the default that came with the SDK. These images you can change. They're PNG images. You can import them into your graphics editor, make them to whatever you like so that it can display on your channel. So right now I'm going to show you what these images will look like by default when you load the channel into your Roku player. Okay, let's take a look at the video player sample that came with the Roku SDK that you downloaded, and that's part of this tutorial. So I'm going to go over to the channel, which I've already installed from the SDK. And if you notice, the first window that came up was a splash screen. That was the files that were in the images folder. Let's open up the images folder within the video player example here on the desktop, and let's go through some of these files just to give you an idea of how you can change them and what they represent on the channel. So if you notice at the top of the channel, you see TED. That's the top bar there. So that's called the overhang logo. If you see it there, and if you look, here's the SD version of that same one, just in case your television is not HD compatible. And then if you look at the right side of the screen on the Roku channel, right at the top, looks like there's an airplane there. Let's look at the background. So if you see that background there, so here's the bar, and that's part of the channel as well. So as I mentioned before, you can change all of these. If we scroll around, we can look at some of the icons here. I'm going to fade these out. But that's the channel and graphics. So you can change all of that. I'm going to show you, well, not really show you, but I'm going to show you the images that I changed. If I go back, see these final images here. If you noticed how I made my own personal graphics just to make it look more branded to my channel. And there's the top bar there. So here's all the images that I have. So I am going to copy them and put them into here. It's going to ask me to replace them. Yep, I want to replace all of them. And there you have it. So now my channel is almost ready to package up. There's one last file we need to change, and that's the manifest file. If you notice the images folder, all the images, this is where the Roku gives us instructions on what to do with those images. And here is also where you can add a splash screen at the beginning. I'll go into more detail with splash screens in another tutorial at another time. But for this tutorial, I want to make sure that you understand the importance of this manifest file. If you do not have this manifest file, your channel will not work. So let's start at the top here. There's the title, which you can change to whatever you want. Let's call this Roku. Oh, let's unlock it. Roku test. Oops. And we'll leave the subtitle the same, but the images, titles, we'll leave the same. Version, we'll leave all that the same. But let's make sure we note what it says Roku test, because this is a channel that we're going to upload. So let's save that. And now the channel is ready for packaging. In the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to put all these files into one file to upload directly to your player so that we can make a package file to upload to Roku.com. It sounds a little confusing right now, but it'll make sense in the next tutorial.